With supply chain challenges and even just in general, finding plant materials for your landscape projects can take a lot of time. But today's podcast guest has created an online marketplace that saves both landscape contractors and suppliers a ton of time and money. Check out today's podcast interview with LandscapeHub to see how the green industry is evolving in a digital direction, how their product integrates with other business softwares in the green industry and proposal processes, and how you can use digital media and social media to build and maintain your business relationships.
We weren't getting the leads that I knew we could. We weren't getting the right leads.
What started happening is that our leads are more qualified.
Our sales have probably gone up by about 10 to 15% a year.
We're going to increase our sales volume by $1 million in a year.
Hey everyone, Jack Jostes here, and welcome to the Landscaper's Guide podcast. This show is all about inspiring the snow and landscape industry to run a better business with sales, marketing, and leadership ideas. A lot of times that involves technology and software and digital communication, and I'm excited to share today's interview with LandscapeHub because they've got a really cool thing going on and just an interesting perspective about the role, digital and email and social media plays ultimately in a relationship industry like the green industry. And speaking of relationships and the green industry, I love having events, seeing you all, meeting you. We've got a lot of cool things coming up, so be sure to check out landscapersguide.com so you don't miss out on our upcoming events. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Landscaper's Guide. Today I'm excited to have LandscapeHub on the show. I've been following them on social media. I've been seeing them at shows for years. And today we have Joe Jurisic. He's the territory manager of wholesale, and Will Haverkamp, the senior manager of supply. So Will, Joe, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you, Jack. Thanks for having us.
It's good to have you both here. And so tell, first of all, what is LandscapeHub? And Will, why don't you tell us?
Certainly. So LandscapeHub is the premier marketplace for the landscape and green industry for buying and selling wholesale landscape materials. We were buying actually from a number of anywhere from 300 to 400 different actual growers, greenhouses, just different folks across the country, and bringing material in. And one of the things that was very evident is that the supply chain is completely fragmented. It's a lot of lack of connectivity between those suppliers, what they physically have in inventory, and understanding at any given point in real time what you could grab and actually buy from them, bring it in, and just having visibility into that without having it being very time consuming. So the idea was to, create a marketplace to where there's complete and full transparency. You can understand what a supplier at any given moment is carrying in their availability, what they have on the ground, and what they could send you at that very given moment, understand the actual price of it. So that was really kind of the idea, was to create a spot where anyone in the industry could go, search for a product, find it quickly, and figure out a way to get it to them with little or less hassle than what we currently are experiencing today.
Joe, were you going to add anything?
You hit the nail on the head. The only one thing I'll add is, we're 100% transparent. Buyer and supplier know who each other are, which is kind of cool. Kind of help growing and fostering relationships.
One of the things that we talked about, and one of the coolest parts about the green industry, the landscape industry, is the relationship aspect of it, though. And so we were talking about digitizing relationships in the green industry and how many people see that as a positive. Oh, this makes it easier. It's enhancing my relationship. And some people feel maybe even threatened by that, or they don't like it, or they've been doing it this way for 30 years. Can you talk to me a little bit about the relationship side of this, and how does LandscapeHub digitize the relationship, and is that a good or a bad thing?
Yeah, I'll go ahead on this one. So what we're doing is we're providing, these growers, nurseries, wholesalers, distributors, providing them an outlet to reach, existing and new people. And what we've determined in our 5 years of business is, building your own e-commerce site is pricey. I mean, and you have to market it, you have to maintain it, and that's, like you said, some people are looking to that, and that's going to be, the future. But the old way of doing business, making phone calls, sometimes you'd make 30 phone calls for, like Will said earlier, for 5 plants, and sure, you're calling all of these people you've been doing business with for forever. When you start to move things online, people get like a little hesitant. They're like, "Oh, why don't you call me anymore?" And it's like, well, in the current world we live in, everyone's short labor. That's a common theme across both landscapers and nurseries. Everyone's looking for labor. It's nice to have those conversations. It's nice to
Mhm.
get to catch up with those people, but being able to business online helps make the day-to-day of both sides much easier. And you're not really losing that relationship. You're using technology for some of the nitty-gritty work. I've been at nurseries where I've been on a tour, and a nurseryman's taken a phone call, written down an order, gets out, and the truck door was open, and the order flies out the window into a puddle. I mean, it's
True,
happened.
Yes.
true story. Yeah.
Or spills coffee on it as we hit a bump in the field. Then he was like, "Oh man, I got to call that guy back." Think about, if you were able just to have that digitized, you're not losing that relationship. You're still a very good friend of that person. Maybe you're in his wedding. That's not going away. You're just using technology for, capturing the nitty gritty part of it, the day-to-day operations. So that's, we
Mhm.
run into it where people are like, "Well, if I start buying online, I'm going to lose that relationship." It's like, no, that's not the case at all.
Yeah, I see the internet as part of the relationship, and what I like about the green industry is I run this podcast. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn and Instagram, and I've made connections with people, and then when I meet them in person at iLandscape or Equip or the GIE Expo or Equip now or Elevate,
Cliff,
whatever
yeah.
show. Anyways,
Yep.
I when I finally meet these people in person, I've already kind of like built up a lot of the relationship, so that way when I meet them, it's we really have a great conversation. Or when I meet people in person, keeping in touch with them on social media afterwards just continues that relationship, and that's allowed me to refer people.
Mhm.
It's helped me get referrals, and I just see it as part of the relationship. And I can't imagine for many of
Yeah.
your clients, the people who use Landscape Hub, that it ends there, right? They're going to probably meet at some point.
Oh yeah, yeah. Everyone loves a good customer dinner where you can sit and you can talk about your family and how things have been going. But said the technology aspect, and to your point before, people are embracing it, and they're loving it. They're rolling with it. They're like, what more can we do with Landscape Hub? That's a big question that we get too, and it goes to show that there are people looking to move into kind of the next part of this industry, which is the technology side.
So most of the people who listen to the Landscaper's Guide are landscape contractors. They run
Mhm.
landscape companies, and one of the challenges that they're having is, finding plant materials, things like that. Are there any other ways that landscape contractors in particular can use Landscape Hub to improve their business that we haven't already talked about?
Yeah, no, I'm like, oh goodness, there's plenty. So besides just being able to have just a really good, we have a huge plant library. We probably have one of the best library that you actually, in search functionality too, where you can actually come on and search for things by common name and botanic name, and even keyword searches, that sort of thing. Where we're really trying to put some more tools in a landscaper's hand is really from estimating, and then estimating it goes and ties into Hub Sheets. Hub Sheets is actually, it's an estimating tool that we're on the verge of actually patenting, and it's essentially where someone can take in the commercial side of estimating and actually doing projects, or even like if you have plant lists or different things you're trying to search from, say from an Excel file or a CSV or even a JPEG, or even you can take a set of architectural plans and you can crop out the actual plant schedule and the materials list and dump that into Hub Sheets, where it drops you on a page where it's going to give you the path to procurement, or it'll even just give you market pricing. It's going to match it out with each one of those vendors. Who has it? Where is it? How much does it cost? And you're working from a central location. It's something that's pretty killer when it comes to a time savings, even just from the estimating side of things.
Uh-huh.
where you can take a list of materials and quickly get a price, and even then turn it around into a cart, like what you were just talking about earlier, and place an order just as easy. So that's one thing off the top of my head. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Joe.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, leaning into us, we've gone around the country and we've, toured all the nurseries that are on Landscape Hub. So, I mean, as a
Mhm.
landscape contractor, you've got your 10, 15 core group. And with the past years, with the increased demand, it's wavered the
Mhm.
supply a bit. And some of these, some of the contractors are looking for material further out than their normal, core group of people. They can lean into Landscape Hub knowing that a trained Landscape Hub person, like I'm boots on the ground. I'm from the nursery industry, that we've been there and we've checked it for quality. Of course, everyone's got a lemon in the field, but that's okay. But you can trust that when you're searching on Landscape Hub, the nurseries you're dealing with are reputable, they're A+, they have IPM programs, that you're going to get a quality material. You know,
Mhm.
contractors now sometimes they'll start a Google and then you're having to do all of your own research, or you're starting to, you have to make all those phone calls. We do all that for you.
Talk to me a little bit about integration. So if I'm using something like LMN or Single Ops or Aspire or Service Autopilot, some of these programs, how does that what would my workflow be like if I go out, I'm meeting with a customer, I'm creating an estimate for them, I'm at the phase where we're starting to look at material. How does how does that kind of tie in with Landscape Hub, or how do you collaborate really with those other estimating programs?
We have a number of integrations in flight. When I say in flight, we're just getting started with a few of them.
Mhm.
There are ones that are in place today, such as like Dynascape. We're working with Arbor Gold. There are we're within Aspire also,
Mhm.
uh, to where it's really kind of gosh, we were even talking with a group today, but uh, I won't say who they are, but it's kind of an example of, I know that a lot of these softwares and systems have a lot of estimating tools, and when it comes to they have to actually manually load like a plant list as well as pricing and unit pricing, so they can have accurate estimates, but they can only have the ability to plug into one catalog. Where we see like a future of this is they're plugged in directly, with Landscape Hub for real-time pricing, real-time sourcing, to where,
Mhm.
we're trying to work this towards where they can live within their software, maybe takes them to a joint page between Landscape Hub and that software, and they could finish the procurement process. And then also we kick back information to them. So they have accurate job costing, all that kind of cool bells and whistles. Joe, I'll let
Yeah,
you add into that. Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. I think it's, the goal is to get to like a 2-click order system. So the systems talk with each other. You can send your list out of your estimating software right to Landscape Hub, assign your favorite suppliers, and boom, your order. That right there alone saves a lot of time versus then having to start to pick up the phone and start dialing for plans pretty much. So the
right.
integrations allow the two systems to really become efficient and take a pain
Mhm.
point out of the day-to-day interaction.
That's one thing, just as a with my agency Ramblin Jackson, we're always trying to find ways to streamline our sales process for our customers.
Mhm.
And basic stuff like having people fill out the form on the website, and does that integrate into your business software? And you'd be amazed how many business softwares right now can't integrate with a website. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
now I need to either download a CSV and upload that into there, or copy and paste it. And I'm just finding it, the more I work with contractors, that they have all these different softwares that they help, but then they create more what I call administrivia of having to copy
Yeah.
and paste this or download this. And my
Yes.
wish for the green industry is that the softwares would play together.
Just to throw this out there too, I mean, we're also looking at the softwares for inventory management systems for the suppliers as well. So making it easy on them, so when a buyer places an order, it dumps into their system, and it pulls directly from their inventory, so it keeps their numbers accurate. So why is that important for a buyer? It's important for them because they know when they're clicking the button, for okay, 40 of these shrubs, like that that supplier is integrated already, so that if any other orders got placed within the last 5 minutes, you know that number is real. You know, like that's yeah, data and the accuracy of the availabilities and all that is just super huge for us. And but it's again, it's like creating you know it's buyer confidence basically. When they go to click a button, they know that it's there and it's going to happen when they work with Landscape Hub.
Well, tell us, for people who are listening, they're probably curious. Hey, can you help me? And we have, podcast listeners all over the country. Tell us, what's your footprint currently? Where are you? You have over. I'm looking on your site, over 173,000 site visitors, over 6,400 plant varieties, and you've done over 112 million plants quoted. So where you're in, it looks like 33 states. So
Yep.
Roughly where are you? We can go to the website and see all of them, but roughly where are you in the US?
So where our footprint is predominantly, we started, like home base is Illinois, is where we started out of there. We really grew from here, from starting back in 2017, where our heaviest footprint is really the Mississippi River, and then east, and then you get to the Northeast, down into the Carolinas, and then down into the Southeast regions. We have a handful of suppliers. We're drifting our way west, if you will. We'd love to, we recognize a ton of needs, just even like in the Iowa markets, Missouri, Colorado, just a lot of those places are underserved when it comes to really good supply. And we've got a ton of great suppliers that we'd love to, connect with folks out there and try to make some things happen. Again, it's kind of like, we can only grow as fast as we can. But we have a couple of suppliers even down into, we have one that's down in Arizona, a couple of them in California, obviously up into Oregon is where some of the most beautiful plants come from. And then even over into Utah as well. But like I say, where our heaviest concentrations are like Mississippi to the East Coast, and then down to the Southeast.
Well, Will, Joe, I can't wait to meet you all in person, right? And continue actually building a relationship offline, but I'm looking forward to checking out Landscape Hub and connecting online. For people who are listening who want to learn more or connect with you, tell us a little bit about how we can do that.
So easiest way is to go to, LandscapeHub.com. We try to make this as simple as possible by making it free, for the buyer to use this as a tool. Search, order, play, do all the necessary things. We want you to get in there and estimate and quote, play around with it. Again, you just go directly to the website, and we could make it easier for a buyer to interact. There's all kinds of different options. Once you get in there, we offer, some great things for contractors and buyers out there. We can offer terms. I don't know anywhere else in the US where you can jump into a site and get credit terms for over 300 plus suppliers in one shot. That's a huge benefit. I don't think we talk about enough, but if you wanted to reach out personally, you'd be just as suited, and we do whatever we could to connect you. You could reach out to myself as Will at LandscapeHub.com. Joe is Joe at LandscapeHub.com.
We keep it easy.
Yeah. So again, also he and I kind of deal more today with the supply side of things, but we have a team across the country of different folks that would be more than willing to introduce you to Landscape Hub. We offer free demonstrations where we can connect with your team, walk you through the process, show you the website, show you how it works, how it functions, and get you on your way if you're wanting a little bit of help. So
awesome. Well, thanks so much. LandscapeHub.com, and I'll put those email addresses you mentioned in the show notes. And thanks so much for coming on the show.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack. We appreciate it.
We do.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for checking out today's interview with Landscape Hub. And if you haven't already, check out their podcast, In the Field. It's really interesting. They talk to different people throughout the industry. Check it out, In the Field. My name's Jack Jostes. Thank you so much for listening to the Landscaper's Guide podcast. I look forward to talking to you next week. Okay, here are the stand-ups for the Landscape Hub podcast interview. Don't you know?